Hello, everybody. So I don't have anything in particular that I want to necessarily talk about tonight. So let me just begin with a conversation that I had with an elderly man. He's almost 90 years old, and he lives down the street in a retirement home. And what was interesting was how common his life was. For example, he did some military time post-Second World War, so he never did fight in any battles or anything like that. He liked hockey, he played hockey, he worked in a coal mine for a number of years, and then his last job before retirement was working at the Molson's plant. That's where they make beer. He worked there for about 25 years before retiring, and was married, had children, and he's now alone in a retirement home. His wife is still alive, but she's in a special care place because she's ill, and so they don't live together. And what was interesting was that, he was saying about the retirement home how in order to be happy there, you just got to learn how to be content. And it would appear that that kind of sort of represented his whole life, which was really nothing spectacular. Was that he was just able to be content in life with whatever life gave him. And it's worked for him. He's now almost 90 years old. And I didn't ask him about his diet. I can assure you he's not a vegan. He probably doesn't even know what that is, or he doesn't care. And he seemed pretty, sharp in the mind. And, he definitely was not jumping around or anything like that, but he certainly wasn't immobile or incapacitated in any way. So I'd say for an 88-year-old man, he's not doing too badly. But what I found interesting was the fact of his idea of contentment, because it's something that I personally can't relate very well to. I don't think I've ever really been content. I've always been striving for something more, something deeper, something beyond what I have. I've never been settled. I'm not settled in this apartment. I'm not settled where my life is at right now. I'm always pushing for something else. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's the same thing, with my spiritual life as well. I'm not content. I don't have a set of beliefs that I can say, oh yeah, I just rest in the security of those beliefs. I'm always pushing myself. Well, is there more to this? Maybe the way I believe is not correct. Let's try another position and see how that works. Never taking for granted anything in my life, and always questioning myself, examining myself, and examining how I behave and how I live. And this is a constant daily event for me. And I'm not sure if that's healthy or not. I don't know. It's just who I am, and I don't expect to change from that anytime soon. I just know that I could never be that man that I talked to tonight who just learned how to be content with where he is. And, that certainly is a key to happiness, contentment. I mean, if you're not content, you can't truly be happy. On the other hand, it's not like I'm unhappy. It's kind of, I guess it depends on how you define happiness, but I have an inner contentment. There's something there much deeper that brings me peace of mind. But I just do not feel rested on an external level, I guess you could say. I feel the need to push myself. This is why I exercise regularly, and usually when I exercise, I push myself further than what I have in the past. With everything in my life, it's more or less like this, trying to improve something in some way or another. And with that, of course, comes many failures and discouragements and mistakes. But I'm happy that I am like that in a certain way, and I guess that's where my happiness is derived from. That this is me, and I'm being true to myself by following this discontentment. I almost look at discontentment in a certain way as being a virtue. I think this is why we as humans left the jungle, was because, not because of necessarily environmental conditions changing or we overpopulated. Yeah, I mean, those could have been factors, or it was just our curiosity, although I do believe that is definitely a factor. You know, we were simply curious about what was beyond, but we were discontent. If you look at animals in their natural environment, I'm not talking about unnatural environments like being caged up or confined or anything like that. I'm talking about in a healthy, natural environment where they belong. They're content. They're not searching for anything beyond. They're not striving to find out what else is out there. They're simply content with where they are. And I mean, they may experience periods of discomfort where they want to try to avoid that and get out of that situation, but that's different. Discontentment has nothing to do with being comfortable or not being comfortable. In fact, the more comfortable you are, I find, the more discontent I am. The more easy my life is, the more discontent I feel within. And so I guess in a lot of ways lately I've been very discontent because on a certain level my life has been quite good. But, and I guess what it is constantly pursuing a level of personal significance, meaningfulness, and a sense of purpose in this universe that we live in. And, you know, maybe it's arrogant to even think that, you know, as humans, we are somehow unique and we have this unique purpose and this calling in life that's distinct from everybody else, that will separate us from the rest. I mean, it's very egocentric when you think of it. And yet this is where probably the discontentment derives from, is that sense of uniqueness. Even though, you know, what are we in the grand scheme of things, in this universe? I mean, what are we? The Earth, the planet Earth itself, you go far out into space, we're nothing. We're not even a speck of dust. We disappear at a certain point. And yet, we have the nerve as humans to think that we are special. And not just as humans collectively, but as individuals. We have the nerve to dare to say, I am unique. I have something special to offer that nobody else in the world has to offer. And nobody quite thinks the same way that I do. Now, that's a little bit deceptive because the reality is we all kind of think along the same lines. And it's interesting how, you know, you may think you've come up with an original idea only to find out that it's already been thought of before. Or you may think that you're onto some new trend that's hardly known, and then you discover that there's tons of people out there already aware of what you're doing. And so there is a collective identity that we are a part of, but yet somehow we have this unique fingerprint, and it's ours. It's ours alone that distinguishes us. And it might be just all an illusion. It might just be, you know, maybe the real spiritual place to be is to completely drop that illusion, to let it go of your identity, to let go of your ego. And then perhaps there is that place of contentment, of being at rest with yourself, with the universe, with other humans, with other living creatures and beings, and just being there. But then I ask myself, what do you do then? Do you just sit there? what do you do? You see, I'm still attached to that ego side of me. I'm still attached to the things of the world. I'm still attached to life and all that it encompasses. And with that comes all the illusions that are entangled with it. And I have not freed myself from that. And I don't even know if that's desirable, to free yourself from all of that, to be completely detached. But yet, you know, as you're approaching towards the end of your own life, the end of the ego, when you have to give up your ego, when you have to let go of your body, when you have to let go of everything that you've acquired in this life, your history, everything that you've built up throughout the years, there does come a point when you've got to let it all go. It's called dying. And I think once you start to get closer to that point, detachment is probably the place where you want to be, where you do let go of those things that you cannot hold on to. And perhaps, you know, maybe that's where the 88-year-old man is today, that he's content because he knows he's living day by day, hour by hour. I think that's about all I have to say on that topic. Was it a topic? I don't know. I was just talking. Basically stuff that's been going on in my head. I'll leave it at that. If you got anything to add to it, leave your comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, don't be shy, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, Grassroots Vegan. Take care.